In this video I will be reviewing this new book, XINGU Below Water. I don't normally do product reviews on my channel, but this is probably the most anticipated fish book of the year. It was published this year. I don't know when exactly, but it was published very recently, a few months ago. And this was a book that I have been waiting for quite a long time. I think for at least a couple of years, since I've learned on the Oliver Lucanus's YouTube channel that he's working on this book. I have been waiting for this book ever since. I will start by saying that this is not a sponsored review in any way. I have paid a full retail price for this book, so this will be a very fair and at times rather critical review of this particular book. So let's get started. So this book has been written by Oliver Lucanus and Leandro Sousa, and I've known Oliver Lucanus's work for many years. I have been following his YouTube channel Below Water, and I'll leave the link to this channel under this video. And Oliver Lucanus does absolutely stunning underwater footage in South America. He's making these absolutely amazing videos of wild biotopes and all the fish that we keep in our fish tanks in their wild habitat. So for anyone who does biotope aquariums or nature aquariums, you're probably familiar with the work that Oliver Lucanus does. And his previous book, Amazon Below Water, I don't have that book, but it's also a book about wild fish in their natural habitat. So Oliver Lucanus is quite well known in the hobby. The second author, Leandro Sousa, he also has his own YouTube channel, and if I'm not mistaken, he's a professor in Brazil, and he's an ichthyologist, so he does research on mostly, I think, L. number plecos, loricarid species of fish in the XINGU River basin. So his YouTube channel is in Portuguese, but you can get the subtitles in English, so I'll also leave a link to his YouTube channel under this video. So both authors are quite famous for their work on documenting and filming fish in South America underwater in their natural habitat. So I've been familiar with the work of both of these authors for quite a while, so I've definitely have been looking forward to buy this book this year. So the book is called XINGU Below Water, and I'll start with the title. I know that many of us in the English-speaking world are actually saying XINGU, but the correct pronunciation is XINGU, because this is how it's pronounced in Portuguese, and I've seen so many times, I don't speak Portuguese, but I've seen so many times native speakers actually pronouncing it as XINGU. So that would be the correct way of pronouncing this. And it's about wild habitats of XINGU River in Brazil. And most of us who keep L. number plecos might be familiar with XINGU River, because that's where literally most of our Hypancystrus species come from. Quite a lot of Panac, quite a lot of Pseudoacanthicus or Cactus plecos originate from. Obviously, there's a lot of other fish living in XINGU River basin, such as pike cichlids and lots of caracins. But for us hobbyists, probably L. number plecos, loricarid catfish are the most well-known fish from the XINGU River basin. So, right. So without any further ado, let's start with my review of this book. So I will not be able to show you literally every page in this book, because that will be breaching the author's copyright, but I will just briefly show you some parts of this book, so you will have an idea of what this book is about, how it's structured, what you can expect to see inside. We have this absolutely beautiful, stunning photo of Panac ambrusteri from XINGU River on the cover, as well as some Leporinos caracins. The reason why I want to show the table of contents of this book, because unlike quite a lot of other books, you will not find this book on Amazon or on other online bookstores. So when I'm buying a book, I would buy it on Amazon or other online bookstores, and I would like to see a table of contents before I would buy a book. This book is not something you can easily buy on either of these book depositories and or book online stores. So you will probably not see this table of contents anywhere else, and for those of you who would like to actually see the contents of the book before buying the book, that can be a useful thing. So the way a book is organized is it has different chapters which focus on different parts of the Xingu River. For example, well, it starts with a bit of an introduction, such as geology, maps, and some details about filming and doing research in Xingu River. But most of it is organized into chapters that focus on different parts of Xingu River. For example, Xingu Lowland, Volta Grande do Xingu, Igarapes, so the small streams around Xingu River, and so on. So this is how the book is organized. And let's talk about the contents. So the book consists of this really top-notch, high-quality photos that Oliver Lucanus is very well known about, and the photos are absolutely stunning. They're really amazing photos of Xingu River fish in their natural habitats. I'll show you some of the photos, and you can see, for example, from these photos here that it is really difficult to take pictures in Xingu River, because the water, although it's not a black water system, it's a clear water system, but the water is quite turbid. It's not transparent, it's not clear, so it is difficult to take good quality photos. But nevertheless, this book is full of hundreds and hundreds. There's, for example, a Hypancistros pleco. Hundreds and hundreds absolutely top-notch, stunning photos of the fish, and it covers literally most of the species that you would find in Xingu River. These are, for example, gold nugget plecos in their natural habitat, looking absolutely stunning. So along with these top quality, absolutely beautiful pictures, you will find some bits and pieces of information about fish and other invertebrates in each picture. So some brief information about the habitats, and a brief information about each of these fish. So for anyone interested in wild habitats overall, wild biotopes from South America or from other parts of the world, or specifically interested in fish species from Xingu River, this is an absolute feast for your eyes. The quality of the photos is absolutely amazing, and you can literally browse through the pages of this book for hours and hours, and you will see probably hundreds of species of fish from Xingu River, including the fish that we keep in our fish tanks, such as Hypancistros zebra, for example, zebra plecos, and lots of other loricarid species of catfish. So there's a lot to like in this book, and this is certainly an absolutely enjoyable book to browse through, to have in your fish book collection, and to have as a reference book. And if you're working on biotop aquariums, if you're working on creating biotop setups, this book does provide you with a lot of insight into how fish and invertebrates in Xingu River. This book will provide you with lots of useful information, kind of a visual information about the habitats in which fish and invertebrates from Xingu River live. So that's definitely probably, well, the only visual guide into Xingu underwater that I'm aware of. There are certainly lots of videos, especially made by these two authors, about Xingu habitats on YouTube. But when it comes to publications, when it comes to books which you can actually hold in your hand and you can just sit down and browse through it, this is certainly the only one of its kind publication that provides you with such an opportunity. Well, as you can guess from my review so far, I could spend probably a really long time saying all sorts of good stuff about this book. But there's also a couple of points of criticism that I have on this book, and both of these points are actually quite subjective. They're probably more of my issues with this book, and you may not find this relevant to yourself. So the first point is There is a lot of pictures. There's some bits and pieces of information about the wild habitats, wild biotopes, but what I find lacking in this book is data on habitats, data on water parameters in habitats, for example. What I would, for example, like to see in each of these chapters, lower XINGU, upper XINGU chapters, is as a minimum hardness, water hardness, pH, conductivity, temperature, and how these parameters shift from dry to wet season. So this is something that, for example, to myself who would like to create a biotope of XINGU River would be of help. Because I would know which sort of parameters should I aim for, which sort of water hardness, which temperature should I aim for, how does temperature differ between igarapes, for example, small streams flowing into XINGU River and the actual XINGU River. So all of this data would have been quite useful. I know you can find all of this online in the internet, you can find scientific articles, you can find lots of other information about water parameters in XINGU River, but since this is a book about XINGU River, and this is quite a comprehensive volume, quite a detailed volume in terms of the amount of pictures, number of species described, so I would expect to have these water parameters in this volume, so I could have this one source of reference on all XINGU related aspects, and I don't really have to go online and search for temperature in, for example, upper Volta Grande do XINGU and so on. But this is something that's missing in this book, and this was a bit of a disappointment for me, because I did expect to have some more detailed information about water parameters, water hardness, temperature, and so on. So my second point of criticism is price. Again, this is very subjective. So this was the most expensive book that I bought in my life, and I've bought quite a lot of books in my life. I've paid for it 120 British pounds, excluding shipping costs, and this is a price for UK customers. And I realize that the original price of this book in North America is much cheaper. I think it's around $85 if you are based in North America and you order it from the authors from Oliver Lucanus website. It will cost you $85 without the shipping costs, which is nearly half the price from the UK market. Well, this is a bit excessive. Well, I know this is a high quality book, high quality print and so on, but there are lots of other fish books of the same quality that are way cheaper than this. And I understand that the authors cannot ship this book from North America to Europe or to the UK, and they have to rely on local distributors, and I also understand that a local distributor needs to add something to the original price in order to have this profit margin, and this is how businesses function. But selling it for nearly twice the original price is a bit too much. So to be honest, I wasn't really happy with the price, but this is my issue. Again, if you're obsessed with fish from XINGU River and you've been following the work of the both authors, probably this price will not be an issue for you, but it was a bit of an issue for me, but because I thought it's a bit overpriced for what it is, and it's probably shouldn't be costing nearly twice as much as the original book costs in North America. So, but that's the thing, you can't really buy it elsewhere. There is just one local distributor in the UK where you can buy this book, and limited number of copies available. I don't know, possibly you could order it from Europe, from the European Union, and it might be cheaper. Actually, I haven't explored this option, but if you are in the UK, you're likely to pay a fortune for it. So this is my other point of criticism. So to conclude, absolutely amazing photos. It's an absolute pleasure to have for anyone who appreciates Rio XINGU habitats, biotopes, who would like to see photos of fish from Rio XINGU in print. You can obviously find lots of videos and lots of photos of fish and invertebrates from Rio XINGU online, but having them in print, having them in a book form, and to be able to kind of read through and browse through this book is a different experience, at least for me. So this is an absolutely wonderful volume in that sense. The two things that I wasn't absolutely happy about this book is first, missing data on habitats, no information about water parameters in Rio XINGU. And the second point that made me unhappy is its price. I think especially for the UK customers, it's excessively overpriced. But overall, great thing to have in your book collection if you're collecting books about fish like I do. The great reference point for wild habitats in XINGU River. So I hope this review was useful for you if you are thinking about buying this book and you have any doubts. And I hope it has provided a little bit more information for you about this book, because the information is certainly lacking on the web. Please leave your comments in the comments section. Feel free to ask any questions you might have, and I'll see you soon in other videos.